News Radio 840 WHAS, Bob Sokoler, the Louisville Real Estate Show, here with you to the top of the hour. Thank you for joining us, folks. We appreciate that. With us here on our Zoom call, because we're still in the COVID format, we've got Randy Rocky with Swan Financial. They do a great job of getting you pre-approved and to the closing table. And Swan Financial is located not only here in the Louisville area, but also in the southern part of the state. Am I correct? And in other parts of the world,
yes.
Right?
Bowling Green, Florida.
Big organization.
Yes.
You can reach Randy. So if you're in Florida or Bowling Green and listening to us on iHeartRadio, 645-0736. That's 502-645-0736. Also here is our very good friend Lee Harris, who is legal counsel for Limestone Title and Escrow. And you can actually call Lee on her cell phone, direct cell phone, at 649-7964. And as Randy sets them up to close, Lee closes the loans, that is, so you're able to get on your way into your new house. All right, and I'm Bob Sokoler. I own the Sokoler team, Remax Properties East. There is no property too inexpensive or too expensive. We handle them all, as well as commercial real estate, and we hope our reviews, at least, and I'll give you the URLs to go visit those reviews in just a little bit, but we hope to do a really good job. We just don't like happy people. We want extremely happy people. So you can call me if you're thinking about selling this year, next year, or beyond, for a free, no obligation estimate to come out and talk. 502-376-5483. That's 502-376-5483. All right, let's go to the emails that we're getting in. And this one goes, we start with Lee Harris over at Limestone. AJ writes in with this unusual question. Lee, he owns a rental property which was vacant. He went to do some maintenance on the property, found people had moved in without his permission or paying rent. He is wondering, how does he actually get them out? Can he call the police and report that they're trespassing? Does he break any laws? He wonders if he personally escorts them out of the property. Lee?
Excellent question.
Yep.
This actually happens more often than you would think. I'm actually dealing with a situation like this right now.
Oh, really? Maybe it's AJ. It could be AJ's property. I don't know. Go ahead. Yeah, you never know.
The issue is, you would think that you could just walk up there and say, "Hey, you're not supposed to be here. You got to go." But there's a lot more hoops you got to jump through. You can call the police, and of course, the people are trespassing, and in fact, they are committing a crime if they've broken into your house and are living there. However, the police typically don't get involved in that. They typically say, you really need to go to a civil court or eviction court, because obviously there could be a situation where it's not a trespass and the landlord's just trying to bypass the system, or really they do have a lease, and the police are not equipped to determine that. So what you really have to do is find out who they are, go to the district court, file an eviction, go through the process of having them served, and you're going to have an attorney if you have any LLC or S corp who's owning the property. And then go down to the court and have them evicted and go through the channels, because what you don't want to do is turn it into an improper eviction where somebody might, take the door off the hinges or cut off the utilities if they're already to the property or something like that, and then turn the landlord now into the wrongdoer. So you do have to follow those steps, unfortunately, to get the squatters out.
Got it. Reminder coming up in this show a little later on after the break, 7 smartphone apps for emergencies that you need to download today. This is a really important thing. I've downloaded a couple of them. They're really good. Also, a reminder, if you want to see a replay of the show, yes, see it, because we also broadcast on YouTube. You can go to LouisvilleAnswers.com. That's LouisvilleAnswers.com. And as we go over to Randy Rocky, a reminder that there's been a lot of news this week. We're only going to be able to hit a couple of these things. One of them is the fact that the Fed announced that they were not going to raise interest rates. They're not reducing them, but they're not going to raise short-term rates, which I guess is a good thing for at least the time being, right, Randy?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Any good news right now is welcome.
All right, so Freddie is planning on buying a new home this next year. Is wondering if he buys a home with solar panels or geothermal heating or high-efficiency appliances, does he get a break on the interest rates when he gets a loan? Freddie?
No, there is not any break on interest rate, but he can get some government subsidies and grants. If he buys it, it's already been in place. I don't think he can even get that. So I think it would just be a normal transaction.
All right. So unfortunately, Freddie, you'll have the advantage of uniquely owning certain things like high efficiency appliances and geothermal, but no break at this point in the mortgage rate. So I'd love to see that happening. Hey, a quick question. Any thought about, I was thinking, how do we make mortgage rates come down? Is there any way that the banking association could turn loans into assumable loans? So let's say Lee has a $300,000 mortgage, and there's $100,000 left, or she's got $100,000 equity, and there's $200,000 on the loan itself. If I came along and wanted to assume Lee's loan, and obviously my interest rates and my credit is good, everything in the background check works, could I just come up with the difference in cash? Let's say Lee's selling her house for $350,000. Could I come up with $150,000 in cash and then assume her loan at the, in theory, 2.5 or 3% interest rate, and then my second loan will only be for the 8% or whatever the going rate is?
Great question. Even on VA, if you're not VA approved, if you're not a veteran, you can assume a VA loan, and it is difficult, but yes, you can do that in the exact. So we don't go too long-winded on the radio show and go to all the different calls. Exactly what you said is exactly what you do.
You can. So it has, but the loan has to be assumable. And a lot of them
it has
not,
to be
right?
assumable. Most every loan is assumable now, but the problem is it usually gets into too much detail and too much work, and a lot of people don't go through that. So, but you can assume most loans, yes.
All right, so folks, this is a way around this problem with the interest rates, is to find a house where the loan could be assumable. There has to be some certain conditions, and your credit has to be able to be high enough to assume the loan, but it can be done. Yeah.
Right. And you could get a second mortgage on the house and then only have to bring certain amount of money to the closing table. So in your example, right, you'll have a home equity line, your second mortgage, or a fixed rate at a higher rate.
Yep.
And then bring a little bit more less to the closing table than bringing this cash.
Maybe we need to just talk more about that down the road. I think we do. We'll do that.
Not a problem.
This one comes in for all of us. Donnie sent us an email. It says he is listing his home, and it is a very large home. He doesn't say how large. He says smaller homes on the market in his neighborhood have sold for approximately $150 a square foot, but his agent is telling him his will not sell for the $150. It will sell for less per square foot, but the agent doesn't understand himself why, and he's wondering if we have an answer. Now, I've got one, but do either of you have an answer why a larger home is sold at a less per square foot than another size that might be smaller?
Yes. It's comps. I mean, simply it's, numbers are numbers, and within a mile radius, usually a 2-mile radius, they want a comparable on similar size house, similar square footage, bedrooms, all the above. And if that scenario has it where it's selling for less money per square foot than a smaller home, which makes sense to me, because of the fact of, as you go up, usually in square footage of home, usually it drops and across per square foot. So yes, that makes sense.
But he's asking, why does that happen? And I have the answer. So hold on there. Lee, do you have the answer on this, just to give you a shot at this?
No? I don't.
Okay. Here's the reason. It is an economics of scale. So folks, listen carefully. I'll try to explain this. This is a big issue, and appraisers get it, but a lot of us don't normally. So it's economies of scale that come into play when a home is larger. As a property size increases, the cost of land, the foundation, the exterior walls is distributed over a greater number of square feet. So this leads to a lower price per square foot as the fixed costs are spread out more thinly. Does that make sense? I thought that was a really good explanation. And again, you can go to LouisvilleAnswers.com to hear it again, but you're taking the same amount of items and just spreading it out over more of an area of square footage, which brings the price down per square foot for a larger home. Hopefully that gives you some answers there, Donnie. I know it's a tough thing to get your arms around. Even a lot of realtors, as you know, don't have that ability to get their arms around it. A reminder, if you're looking for our reviews, because we do a really good job. I'm very proud of our team and myself, what we do. You can go to either LouisvilleZillow.com or LouisvilleGoogle.com, Or if you want to see some of the interviews we do with our clients, go to LouisvilleSellersTalk.com, or we've got some old interviews with the LouisvilleBuyersTalk.com. Okay, Lee, we're going back over to you. Justin wrote in on one of our media sources that we use. He says, I hate to be that neighbor that complains, but are there any HOA guidelines for chickens in Louisville neighborhoods? There seems to be 2 chickens that are very vocal day and night and can be heard with windows and doors closed very clearly. And Justin says, I have tried knocking on the door to ask if they could close the roosters in the pen. However, no luck. Contacting the homeowners, any advice would be greatly appreciated, and he would like to see what can be done. Lee?
Well, I think what you're going to have to fall back on, if you can fall back on anything, is probably noise pollution. If these chickens are creating a noise pollution type of situation, you might be able to make a complaint with Louisville Metro. I'm not aware of any specific regulation regarding chickens. In fact, I know a lot of people who do have chickens now in their backyards. So it's an egg thing, I believe, and a pet thing.
It's a fresh egg. But is it chickens that crow, or is it a rooster that? I thought it was a rooster.
Rooster.
Yeah, rooster.
Yes, but isn't he saying that these chickens are making noise?
Something is making noise. I think he's presuming it's maybe chickens, but I think they're. And I'm a city boy, so don't look at me. But I think it was rooster. We sold a farm last year with chickens and roosters on there, and I think I remember being told that roosters make that noise. There are a lot of interesting facts about chickens I never knew that. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah, they're very popular right now as pets/egg producers.
Yes, multi-purpose. They're multi-purpose. We're going to take a break. When we come back, folks, 7 smartphone apps for emergencies that you need to download. As we get into the colder weather, this will be interesting for everybody. I'll try to come up with an actual list that I can email to you as well, so you'll have them. But I found this was interesting. Continuing with us, Randy Rocky, Swan Financial. You can reach Randy and get a loan or a home at 502-645-0736. Also, Lee Harris, who's legal counsel over at Limestone Title and Escrow. They do a great job at closing loans, and I had 2 of their cookies there this week, and it was delicious. I will tell you, 649-7964. And if you're thinking of selling your home, I would love to help you, give you a free, no-cost obligation, no obligation. Just let me come out, we'll talk, or we can do it on the phone or via Zoom. You can reach me anytime on my cell phone, 376-5483. We are back in a moment on News Radio 840 WHAS. Here we go. News Radio 840 WHAS, Bob Sokoler, the Louisville Real Estate Show, with you till the top of the hour. Continuing with us, Lee Harris, who is legal counsel over at Limestone Title and Escrow. They do a great job of closing your loans. You can pick the closing attorney that you want. And I'll tell you the truth, Lee Harris, Limestone Title, among the best in the city. You can reach them at 649-7964. Also here, Randy Rocky, Swan Financial. They do a great job of getting you pre-approved and approved to get your loan and buy your home. You can reach Randy at 645-0736. And if you're thinking of selling or buying in the near future, this year, next year, or beyond, I would love to come out and talk to you. You can call me anytime. We can talk about the process, the ins, the outs, the ups, the downs, what you need to think about, maybe if you need repairs or not need repairs. You can call me 376-5483. That's 502-376-5483. Or you can go to bobsellslouisville.com. All right, we're going to be spending more time indoors. The weather is going to become more difficult to navigate. So there are 7 smartphone apps you want to think about downloading. These are to give you updates on the weather, emergencies, and the like. The first one is the Weather Channel. Now, I'm only using the free version, so be careful that you don't subscribe and have to cost you money. But the Weather Channel gives you, and I should also put a plug in for Wave 3. At the same time, their app as well is great, but you want to have those weather apps on your phone so that in the event of a problem, some inbound weather, you want to know about that. Weather Underground is a pioneer of internet weather information, and it has a lot of things that are also interesting to learn about. So Weather Underground is another one. Go to your App Store or Google Play, I guess, and they get those where you can get your apps. The Red Cross has an app for itself, which will help you in the event of an emergency. Also, Climb, which is NOAA weather radar live and alerts. but be careful. There is a sign-up version for $30, the pro version, $30 a year, I believe. But Climb NOAA Weather Radar itself is free. ICE Medical Standard. I downloaded this, and it takes a little information from you. It takes your information so that if in the event of an emergency and you're incapacitated, first responders can access your contacts. So it's called ICE Medical Standard, and I don't believe there's a payment for that. Zello, Zello, has a lot of information, and it acts as a walkie-talkie. So if you and your family members are not able to hit a cell tower because of some sort of major storm that takes out the towers, if you use Zello, you're able to communicate with people who have Zello, and hopefully your family has Zello. And then there's the FEMA mobile app, which is the Federal Emergency Management Agency, and their smartphone app is a must-have if you live in a disaster-prone region. Luckily, we don't, but next week, this is a shameless plug for next week's show. Next week, there's a question of rumbling, feeling I don't know if you guys have ever felt this, your ground move under your feet when you're in your home. What's the reason why it's moving? We'll tell you a little bit more about that on next week's show. All right, back to the questions that we get via email. And you can send me those emails, bob@wesellouisville.com. And all you have to do is put radio question in the subject line and put the question in the email itself. That's what Anita did. And she heard us, Randy, talking about financing a small or teeny home on one of our past shows. And she's wondering this could be a problem. In the email, she says that her dream is to purchase either a yurt. You know what a yurt is? I do. It's this round dome, but it's made out of like straw and things like that. I was once in a yurt on the West Coast, but I didn't know they had them here. Or a container home. Now, container homes, we're getting to know because they're like shipping containers that they make into homes. It's actually pretty cool. But she wants to do it on a mountain hilltop, but she's concerned now after hearing us that these non-traditional structures cannot be financed. And so the follow-up question also, can they be financed? And then another listener, Rocky, wonders if he can get a mortgage for a houseboat or a floating home. And so those two questions that I figured I'd tie together. Thoughts on those, Randy?
Yeah. So on a houseboat, we would not be able to do that, but there are lenders that will do that. And a floating home, yes, as well. You can have that. I don't know about I just don't know about a yurt or a container. I know I cannot do those.
But
they're specialty. Yes, I don't even know. I don't know if there's anybody lending for that. She would. The best place to go on that would be Google and see if there's somebody out there that'll do it.
Had you ever heard of a yurt before we brought it up on the air?
I heard of it, but I didn't know exactly what it was.
Yeah, it's because it's very strange. It's kind of this unusual round dome-ish type thing that's made of natural materials. I'm sure there's a more specific.
Is it like an igloo?
Yeah, but made out of not ice.
Ice, of course.
Yeah. All right, we move over to Lee. In this email, James writes that he has a serious legal problem on his hands. His ex-wife forged his name on a quitclaim deed, which of course put the property into her name. And he is not quite sure how that happened. And he wants to know, Lee, what do you suggest about rectifying that problem at this point? And how does it happen? I'm wondering.
Well, that is actually, and I would tell people who are, dealing with any kind of legal documents, there are some people out there who might fake being a notary, or maybe they really are a notary, but they're in collusion with the other person who's trying to pull a fast one on the deed, and they'll sign for them saying that they saw their ID and all of that. And so fraudulent deeds are a thing. Unfortunately, people doing scams seem to come up with creative ways to do them. So obviously she committed a fraud, so that's a crime, and that can be undone. I think the person that would be best to undo that would be the prosecutor in whatever county he's in. Take that deed down there. He can look up the notary who signed to see if that person is actually a notary, and if so, that person may also be on the hook if they didn't get the right proper procedures, or if they were in on it. A notary could also be innocent, of course, just thinking that this is, a legitimate deed, that they're just witnessing a signature. But it certainly is a crime, and I think the FBI and or the local prosecutor, depending on what is involved, if there's a loan, perhaps it has any federal ties to it, that could be a federal issue. If it's a local property that doesn't have any mortgage on it or something like that, it would be a prosecutor in this county.
Yeah, the deed will be online. It should be accessible. The notary's name is going to be on there, and that's where I guess
Right.
the first starting point would be. All right.
Yes.
We wish you much luck on that, James. Darlene writes in, and I've done research for this. She says, this is an unusual question. Darlene is asking me how long of a shower that she's supposed to take. She takes a 20-minute shower, she says, and her husband gets on her for wasting water. So she wants to know, is there any idea what the standard length of shower should be? Randy, take a guess how long you or Tracy take a shower?
Here's my standard answer on that. Do what you want. I mean,
really.
Really,
you're a good guy. Okay, good.
Yeah, I don't care. As far as that, I mean, if my wife wants to take a 2-hour shower, it doesn't matter to me. So just don't. It never. But if I say this, if I would say the average shower is probably 9 minutes, if I had to guess.
And Lee, what are your thoughts?
I'd guess it's 5 to 10 minutes is the average shower.
Okay.
If you're really washing your hair, it's probably 10 minutes. If you're just jumping in and jumping out, I'd say it's 5 minutes.
Yeah, well, I'm doing the shaving and conditioner and shampoo and all the other way around, shampoo and then conditioner. So mine's about 8 minutes. But so here's the actual answer. Dr. Rosmi Barros, who's an MD, a medical doctor, and a master esthetician who specializes in anti-aging practices and regenerative medicine, says that the average shower should actually be 10 to 15 minutes at most. So she's given a range of 10 to 15 minutes. She says this is because prolonged exposure to water can strip the skin of its natural oils and lead to dryness and irritation. So there you go, Darlene. You asked the question. We got the answer for you. 10 to 15 minutes. Maybe your husband had something there. I don't know. You never know. All right. We go back over to Randy Rocky, Swan Financial. Tony is a YouTube influencer. You know what that is, Randy?
Yes.
That's where there's a lot of money to be made on YouTube videos that you get watched and then get money for. Anyway, so he pulls in a 6-figure income from creating the YouTube videos. And Tony is wondering in this email if a lender would consider income from unconventional sources like YouTube, or if you host an Airbnb and make income. So both of those are yes?
Yes. Professional poker players, all that stuff is I can do them. Yes.
All right. Just out of curiosity.
Musicians, I've done all kinds of crazy
What's
loans.
the most unusual, crazy one that you've ever used?
I've done a couple of giant star loans, which I'm surprised they even got a mortgage. But I've done poker players that have, 2, 3, 4 million in cash, but they want a mortgage, and who knows what happens. Sometimes they go broke. Sometimes they keep on rolling along. So I've done, but those are probably, if I had to guess, are my most unusual mortgages. But yes, we can absolutely do influencers.
Got it. All right. That's good. Good question, Tony. Thank you for writing in. Melissa asks Lee Harris over at Limestone in this email, she and her ex-husband are both on the deed of a home they own. They have since gotten a divorce, but only her ex-husband is on the mortgage. So Lee and Randy, you may want to jump in on this one. So Melissa is wondering if when the property is sold, who gets the proceeds? Are they evenly split? So just recapping here, she and the ex-husband are both on the deed, but the ex-husband is the only one on the mortgage. Lee Harris.
We are going to issue those proceeds to the people who are on title. If there's some other difference, for example, if they've agreed to split it 80-20 or something like that, that is all related to the divorce family court, their settlement agreement, or the order from the court. We get people all the time who say, oh, yeah, I'm supposed to get this and my husband's supposed to get that. That is not for anybody to decide except their attorneys. And so any monies that are in dispute like that would go to the attorney's escrow account, and the two attorneys on representing the partners would work that out.
So let me ask you a question. If they both are on there 50-50, they come to the closing table, do you issue 2 checks to them separate, or would you, in that situation, if one of them says, hey, I'm supposed to get 80-20, do you get involved with their lawyers and put it in an escrow? How do you handle that, Lee?
If there's any kind of dispute about it, we're giving it to the attorneys to decide. Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Makes sense. Okay, good. All right. I think last question here, Randy Rocky Joel asks in an email, through our HomeBot software. That's one of the things we keep people in contact with pricing. You know that. You're part of that system, HomeBot. What are my cash out options for a home loan? So explain what a cash out option is and what are the options?
Yeah, but it's 30% of the market right now. 30% of the loans going down right now are cash out. So most of people in America right now have plenty of equity, and a lot of people in America, unfortunately, we went over $1 trillion with a T in credit card debt. So what they're doing is they're cashing in to their house to pay off these high credit card loans. Here's where we become into play in a big way. If they have a 3% rate, a 3.5% rate, and let's say they owe $200,000 on a house that's worth $600,000, and they need $100,000 for credit card debt consolidation and things of that nature, we'll run scenarios. More than likely, we'll want to do a home equity line behind it, rather than refinance the whole mortgage.
Right, at 8%.
So, right. So, and there's some certain situations where we might not do that. If they have $50,000 they owe on it and they need $150,000, we just refinance the whole thing. So that's an individual basis, but that is something that I really cannot recommend enough. Please go to a professional, because it is unbelievable how many people right now are refinancing when they should only be getting a home equity line of credit. It's really sad.
Yeah, you don't need to pay a higher rate.
That's right. But it's happening a lot.
A lot of time. Okay. Good advice, Randy. A reminder as we wrap up, if you'd like to sign up for our newsletter, by the way, this week's topic is home wellness, how your home could improve your overall health and well-being with 5 popular options and features. Go to welovelouisville.com, sign it up for it at welovelouisville.com. We're out of time. My thanks to Randy Rocky over at Swan Financial. Does a great job. You are welcome for getting you pre-qualified and to the closing table. 6450736. Also, Lee Harris, legal counsel over at Limestone Title and Escrow. They do a great job of closing your home loan. You can pick the closing attorney, and Lee and Limestone are among the best in the city. You can reach Lee on her cell phone. And by the way, other realtors, she's a great source of information. 649-7964. You're thinking of selling? I'm loving helping you. I really would. Just give me a call now after the show or this weekend or during the week. You can reach me on my cell phone, whether you're buying or selling, 376-5483. That's 502-376-5483. Or go to bobsellslouisville.com. A reminder, if your condo or your home shakes, we'll try to find out the reason next week. That's it. We're out of time. See you next Sunday on News Radio 840 WHAS.